Well. It's good to be back with you live and in person. It's time for the Jesse T Show, broadcasting live to you from an undisclosed location somewhere here in Southern California. And that is a beautiful rainy Tuesday or Thursday or Wednesday. Let's see, what day is it on the calendar? It's a beautiful rainy Wednesday here in Southern California, and we have been getting a lot of rain lately. We really have. It's pretty amazing. It's heavy right now. It's pretty amazing what is going on. I mean, would you have ever thought the craziness that is going on here in our society is happening? I mean, it is amazing when you really begin to think about what's been taking place here. It really is amazing. The news and the stories and how people are reacting and how people are thinking today. I never thought in my lifetime that America would be acting in such a fashion that it has been acting lately. I never ever thought that. It just blows me away that we have so much dissension in our society today. It's amazing to me, from 20 years ago, from 40 years ago, from 30 years ago, from 25 years ago, just from 10 years ago. It is amazing to me what's been taking place here in our crazy country. I can't put my finger on it. I really can't. I try to, but I can never really put my finger on what's been happening here in America today. It is, for the lack of any other word, we've just come unhinged. You know, we've just come unhinged. We really don't have any barometer on where we will stop being jerks to each other. Hey, today we're just going to have a conversation, you and me, and our listeners, and I appreciate that. We're just going to have a conversation about America and what America should stand for, not what it is standing for, and not what so many want to make it stand for. We need to get back to some basics in this country as to what America really stands for. What made us great in this country? What made us the country that we really grew to be? What is it about America that was great to you and me and our forefathers? Why did they give up their lives to make this country great? Why did they sacrifice? What made them different than you and me living in America today? You know, I listen to MSNBC, I listen to CNN, I listen to Fox, I read a ton of different websites, outrageous websites, conservative websites, lunatic left, communist, socialistic websites. I read a lot of different blogs, and I've come to the determination that America is really trying to find itself again. We've kind of lost our way. Our generation, that is the end of the baby boom generation, that is me, and the beginning of the generation, the Gen Xers, they call them, and the millennial generation, and the generation that is being born right now at this moment, the babies. Of course, if they're not getting hit with being killed coming out of the womb and down the birth, I think they call it fanticide, some crazy, wacky name this concept and ideology that this country is great, and that we really made the world what it is today. We've lost our way in terms of where we're going. In fact, sometimes I don't even think we know where we're going anymore. I think that sometimes we really don't have a direction. We're sort of like a country without a direction. You can't hide the fact that our president, Donald Trump, has done some miraculous things. You can't deny facts. Whether you like him or you don't like him, it's really not what is important. What is important is what has he done for America. You know, the Constitution only makes the president, the executive branch of our government, responsible for a handful of things. The Constitution only allows a president to be responsible for a couple of things. But we've kind of lost our way in terms of the respect of the office, the respect of the White House, the respect of the man, or maybe possibly someday soon, a woman in the White House. We are taking personal attacks at somebody that has done some really great things. And I can't figure it out. And I really try to go down the middle line here. You know, I've never been a Democrat, and that's for sure. I've always registered Republican, and when I get upset at the Republican Party, I end up registering or re-registering as a conservative or an independent. And right now I'm a conservative and an independent. And the reason why is because I believe the Republican Party is not the Republican Party that I believe it should be. I believe the Democrat Party is not the Democrat Party that I think it should be. I believe our president is doing some great things. He's not perfect. There's no doubt about that. He is not perfect, but really, who is? And this all-out attack on his personal business, which was way before the White House. If we did this with every president that we have ever had in this country, we wouldn't have a president. If we could go back historically, not too far ago, we don't have to go back far. Obama, the Bushes, Clinton, Reagan. We could go back farther. LBJ, Nixon, Kennedy, Theodore Roosevelt, Buchanan, Abraham Lincoln, Jackson. We could go back farther. Adams, Washington, Jefferson. Every president has had a life before they've been president. And if they haven't broken the law and been thrown in jail under a felony, then what have they done that is so wrong? People talk about taxes and what he's worth and how much he paid in taxes and how he utilized the system to circumnavigate paying a lot of taxes. Well, really? Don't you do that when you go to your tax accountant, your tax attorney, your CPA, or H&R Block, or TurboTax? Don't you look for a way always in your adult life and your parents' parents to try not to pay as many taxes as we're hit with? We all do that. And what's so wrong with that? If in fact that is a crime, then we all should be in jail. 300 million Americans should be in jail because we've all done that. All of us have stretched the rubber band. And yet we go after President Trump and his personal activities before he was president. Really? Digging up his insurance companies to find out how he files his insurance policies? I mean, really? attacking his daughters and his sons, attacking his previous marriages, attacking his previous businesses, attacking him all the way back to when he became an adult, attacking his father. Really? What does that have to do with the great things that he's been doing? What has he done so bad? I just wish somebody would tell me. I just wish somebody would say to me, these are the 10 things that he has done so badly. I can't figure out 10 things he's done. I can't figure out 5 things he's done. He certainly is not a racist, a bigot. Where has he been a racist? There are more minorities, so-called, African Americans, black people, brown people, Asian people, women working, and he is employed than any other president ever. 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 He does more, and many very well-to-do black businessmen and women, educated people, pastors and priests, social workers and community activists have said he has done more for our community than any president ever has, and that includes Obama, who was a black man, if you recall. What has he done? What has he said? He's always reached out. 58% of the people that have been newly employed while President Trump has been president over the last 2 years are women. Are women. You know, if every guy in town had to face the music of their past, if every guy in town had to face the music of their past when they were growing up or young adults or for whatever, there would never be a man in a position of anything. The things that men say are no worse or better than the things that women say. Have you ever been around a bunch of women who have been out partying and how they talk about men? Have you ever been around a bunch of men in a locker room? Have you ever been around little boys and little girls? Seriously. And if we're held to that kind of authority, then nobody would ever accomplish anything. He's never raped anybody. He's never beat anybody up. In fact, when you start really digging into his past, he's been the most generous billionaires in New York. Many, many, many times. You know, after 9/11, he hired so many hundreds and hundreds of construction workers and paid them out of his own pocket to go there and help with 9/11 and those buildings and the cleanup. Did you know that? He was the only billionaire that did that. And he was one of the very few billionaires that went down there and walked it. I mean, it's amazing to me. It's just amazing to me. We don't look for the good things. We only search for the bad things. And, well, okay, why is that? Why is that? Okay, you just don't like the guy. Hey, look, I don't like pit bulls. I don't like them. I like dogs, but I just don't like pit bulls. I would never own a pit bull. You can't tell me a pit bull is a good dog to own. I'm sorry. You can't do it, but that doesn't mean I don't like dogs. Okay? You may not like Donald Trump. You may not like him, but that doesn't mean he hasn't done some great things while he's been in office, and I can rattle those off. I've done it many, many, many times. you have to recognize the goodness in people and the goodness in things that people do in order to create a better environment. If you don't recognize that, then you just destroy the environment around the goodness that has been done. And that's exactly what is happening. And why is that? Why does the other party, the Democrats, why are they so dead set against this guy? I've been trying to figure it out. I really, really have. What has he done to them other than defeat them? And they got caught with their pants down because they thought Hillary Clinton was going to win. So why, other than that, has he done to them? Somebody please tell me. What has he done to them? What has he done to black folks? What has he done to brown folks? What has he done to Asian folks? What has he done? Tried to protect our nation? Did you know that a report came out this morning? Homeland Security gave up all the recent statistics, this along with Border Patrol and DEA. If you can't believe these entities that are down there every day, folks, we have no conversation. If you're just a person that is so cynical and you can't believe anything, well, we have no conversation. Okay? That's it. But it isn't even been 6 months into 2019, and they have already surpassed the amount of people coming across the border from all last year. And if the projection continues, there's going to be 1 million illegals coming across the border by the end of 2019. You can't be telling me that that's not a national emergency. The drugs, the rapings, the murders, the human trafficking. See, what the cartels and MS-13, especially the cartels, have realized, and we're getting no help from the Mexican government. That's so corrupt over there. The federales and the policia are just getting paid off. We get no help. If they weren't, then they would stop it at their border. They're making money. It's $2,500 to $5,000 for a Mexican cartel member to go down to the Guatemalan border, pick up some people coming across the border, protect them coming down in through Mexico to our border, turn them over to Coyote, which costs another $2,500. For them to bring them across the U.S. border. And on the way, if they don't have the money, they'll work a deal with the little girl of the family or the little boy of the family, and they can work it off, or the woman of the family when they get to America. They can work it off. And you know how they work it off? On their back. And also on their back, not only on their back with their legs up, but on their back carrying hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds of fentanyl, of coke, of marijuana, of everything. Of meth, crack, crank, heroin, opiates. That's how they work it off. That's called slavery. That's called trafficking. And they get the money. They have found, because they already have the organization. They've already dug the tunnels, which we can't find them all because we don't have the ability to stop them. They have the organization to bring people across. They've been bringing drugs across since Clinton. So the guy wants to stop that. Tell me, what is so wrong with that? Are you telling me that the angel moms don't believe it's a national emergency? Are you telling me that the Border Patrol don't believe it's a national emergency? Are you telling me that Homeland Defense doesn't believe it's a national emergency? Are you telling me that the sanctuary cities, which are filled full of poop and pee because these people got nowhere to stay, and the drugs that they bring with them, is not a national emergency? Really? 300 people are dying a day across America because of opiate abuse? 300 people a day, folks. That's not a national emergency? I don't know what is. So the guy wants to stop that. He wants to build a wall. And he's $5 billion compared to the trillion dollar deficit, $125 trillion deficit or more, and the $1 trillion budgets that we have in this country. $5 billion is like you dropping $1 buying a pack of gum at your local Circle K or 7-Eleven. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing. He wanted Congress to do it properly. He tried and tried and tried for 2 years, and Congress won't budge. Why? Why? Tell me, would a Democrat call me and tell me? Let me question one of these Yahoo Democrats like Frankenstein Feinstein or Pigalicious Pigalosi or Cabal Kamala. Let me question them, please. Let me question them. What is so wrong with protecting our nation? What is so anti-American about protecting our sovereignty? We did it in World War II, so we wouldn't be speaking German and Japanese. We did it in the Cold War for 50 years, so we wouldn't be speaking Russian and Chinese. Please tell me, what's so wrong with keeping our sovereignty as a great United States of America? What is so wrong with that? Did you ever hear about the Monroe Doctrine that President Monroe created? Did you ever hear about Manifest Destiny? The Great White Fleet of Theodore Roosevelt? World War I? If it wasn't for us, England wouldn't have won. World War II, if it wasn't for us, the world would have lost. We've been protecting our sovereignty forever, like every nation. And what's so wrong with that? Someone tell me. Let me have a Democrat tell me. I'll put their butt right on the spot. I'll drive the same question until they answer it or get up and walk out. Please, put buck-toothed, big-eyed Ayok in front of me. Please. Please. Somebody, please. They can't answer the question because they don't have any answers. There's nothing wrong with protecting our nation. The wall's not a get-all and stop everybody. No, it is not. You can't build a wall high enough or deep enough. But it's part of a strategy. That's what it is. With the satellites, with the infrared, with the cameras and the sound devices, with all of the scientific technology, the drones, okay, the planes, the helicopters, the Border Patrol on mules, Border Patrol on horses, off-road vehicles. It's part of a whole concept. Rewriting our immigration laws, making them modern, it's part of a whole concept. That's what it's part of. Walls help stop people. RJ Johnson's on. Hey, RJ. Maxell Keith is on. Hey, what's happening with us? Lady Lalaine Medina Reed and her husband. Good people. Good people. Deborah Van Vyett. Hey, thanks a lot. Samira Kosmeni. Yeah, Susan Balaki. That's right. Don Hopprich. Hey, Don, he's up in the Antelope Valley. Jim Thompson. All right. Hey, big. Hey, Sifu Sensei. Antonio A. Camatillo. Antonella. I like that name. Richard Chamorro. Dean Olson. Deshaun McMillan. Hey, everybody's checking in. Tepresa Duta Lipsky. I like that. Yeah, Cat Baller, bro. That's right. Frank Trito is checking in as well. And Maria Vasquez. Susan says to me, she says, they like chaos, not peace. You have to follow the money. She's right. You have to follow the money. You see, that's the thing that President Trump doesn't have to deal with is the money. He gives away his whole salary. $400,000 a year he gives away to special groups every time he gets paid. Isn't that good? Would you like to work for free? Would you do that? I fear not. See, the key is what are the things that he has done so bad? So he wants to improve our military and modernize it. What is wrong with that? What's so wrong with that? He wants to modernize our Navy fleet. You know, we got a big problem with China. By 2030, we have a big problem with China. He is about ready, on the verge, to 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 win a trade deal from China that is going to rewrite America. In fact, it's probably going to be one of the greatest deals that America has ever made since its inception. It's completely going to revamp America. We're talking about Chinese manipulation of their currency as part of the trade deal. It's part of the trade deal. Okay? That's what we're talking about. And the manipulation of currency hurts your jobs. That is about ready to be a winning situation for us in America. China is hurting, folks. Big time. Oh, the reports on that, if you listen to the fake news media, you don't hear it. But if you go to Chinese media online and you go to India's media, their neighboring country, online, who doesn't like China, okay, you really get to see and digest the true stories of what's happening in China. Their economy is blowing down. It's bursting down. It's not going up right now. Our trade deficits, we're just dishing out to them what they've dished out to us. And what's so wrong with that? Why shouldn't Europe pay for their UN costs? What is so wrong with that? How long are you going to keep paying for your daughter living in your house and your son? How long are you going to keep enabling them? It's about time they fess up and pay up. What is so wrong with putting America first economically in the world? Tell me, just what is so wrong with that? Is that a bad thing? Is it a bad thing for North Korea's leader to stop firing missiles and testing nuclear bombs? Is that a bad thing? So what? We didn't get a deal, and he walked out. Hey, when you're dealing, I'm a negotiator. I do this all day long. I negotiate deals all day long. I've been selling real estate and doing loans, and for 40 years. I got over 4,000 transactions under my belt, one form or another. Sometimes you just got to walk away. Say sorry, thank you. You want to go have a hamburger? What is so wrong with about putting America economically first? Somebody please tell me. Somebody please tell me what's so wrong with North Korea and South Korea coming together, not only wanting to blow themselves into eternity and blow Japan up and blow Hawaii up and blow Manila up. What is so wrong with that? Is that a bad thing? I'm trying to figure out what the problem is. Yeah, he's done business in Russia, but so has every other international businessman and multi-international company. And you don't go into another man or woman's country doing business your way. You are under their rules, their laws, their mores, their tendencies. Otherwise, you aren't successful. What is so wrong with a guy making money around the world? I wish you could. Don't you wish you could? Don't you wish you were worth $100 million? Or $100 billion? Oh, he's not a nice guy. No, he's not. No successful businessman or woman is nice. They're all ruthless. Robert, Nicholas, to have us on, they're ruthless people. They have to be. In business is like war. And you have to be smart. And so if you know the rules better than somebody else, that means you prevail. Because you got to pay a lot of taxes, maybe you should get out a book and read how not to pay a lot of taxes. There's a book right now at TrumpTaxCut.com. If you go get that book right now, it'll show you 1,000 different ways to lower your taxes. Do you just trust H&R Block and TurboTax? Do you really? Take a hold of your money. You don't want to pay a lot of taxes? Learn how not to, the legal way. The system is designed for those who want to succeed. Don't you get it? The system, our system in this country from the get-go has been designed from the beginning for those that want to succeed and take a risk and will educate themselves and do what it takes to win. That's what our system is based on in this country. That's called capitalism. And capitalism is the greatest form of economic standard ever developed in the history of mankind. If it isn't, then let me ask you this. You got a CVS pharmacy that's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in your city? They don't have that in China. They don't have that in Vietnam. They don't have that in Venezuela. They don't have that. I've been to 43 nations. I know what they have and they don't have. You like your brand new car and your selection of 75 different brands of tires? That's called capitalism. You own a piece of property and you want to make more on that sale of piece of property than somebody else? That's called capitalism. Then you make your house nicer. You make your commercial property better. You fix it up. You do something. That's called capitalism. Barry Burnett will swear to that. Barry Burnett's one of my pals in the real estate business. He's been in the business probably about 5 to 10 years longer than me. He's one of my guru guys, you know. He'll swear to capitalism. God put capitalism in the minds of men and women. And why? Because God wants us to prevail. God doesn't want us to die in some gulag. At least not my God. So what's so wrong with making money and investing? When you make money, you invest. When you invest in your community. You invest. You have enough money to maybe donate money to a nonprofit. You invest. You pay back. Givers receive. Takers never get. So what's so wrong with capitalism? Farmer wants to go out and farm, hard work. The hardest work in the world is farming 7 days a week, every day of the year. And he brings his products to market, and he wants to market his products in 5 or 6 or 10 different stores. So what's so wrong with that? It's called capitalism. And he employs people, and he pays for insurance. So Donald Trump is a capitalist, a multi-international capitalist. So what's wrong with that? 2 years, they haven't been able to find anything. Don't you think they would? You know why this big attack is going on right now against him personally, and they're making it personal? This is far beyond business now. If they did that to me, I'd be taken out kicking somebody's ass. President or not. I'd go to Dick Shiny Head Schumer. I'd call him out in the parking lot. Bust his nose. Guys are a bunch of sissies anyway, most of them. Most of them should be wearing the dress that guy wore to the Academy Awards, the tuxedo dress. What a fruity guy that guy is. And I'm not afraid to say it. My goodness, are you kidding me? Really? I don't care. I don't care if I get you people mad. I don't really care. I call it like I see it. You don't like it, go watch and listen to somebody else. They're personally attacking this guy. And why? Because they got nothing else. Because the Mueller report, the Mulehead Mueller report, because he looks like a big block mulehead, the Mulehead Mueller report is going to come up with nothing. And they know it. Because it's all been a farce, a rouge. And now they're gangbusters against. Unbelievable. Never seen it in this country. And you'll never see it again. I'll tell you what. He's the last president that's not going to be a professional politician, kowtowing and bending over to the global elitists, taking their money from the 6 major corporations that own 80% of all the corporations in America, the 6 major banks, the 3 major insurance companies. He's the last president that's not going to cow down and bend over and kiss their ass. I'm telling you that right now. Because nobody in their right mind would run for that office ever again. Only the professional politicians. Blows my mind. What's so wrong with the guy? What has he done so badly? So he talked some crap about a woman on a bus with another guy. And you haven't done that? Ladies, you haven't talked some crap about a guy with your girlfriends? Please. Let he sin. Let he who has not sinned cast the first stone. Do we live in such a Puritan society? Please. I challenge anybody to tell me what is so wrong with this president, and to tell me in an unemotional way without calling him playground names. Unbelievable. We have the greatest economic boom that is happening in this nation's history going on right now. And just because you are not a part of it, you put it down? Well, then why don't you become part of it? Why don't you go out there and get a second job? Why don't you go out there and get a solo 401k if you're independently employed, or a Roth or an IRA? Why don't you go out there and teach yourself about IPOs? Why don't you go out there and buy a piece of real estate and take the risk and throw it down and work 2 jobs to get it? Then maybe, and just maybe, you might be worth $100 million someday. You know, over 6 million people have been tossed off of welfare in the last 2 years. Yeah. Except in California. Don't even get me talking about California. So, you know, when you start thinking about our great nation, and you got to ask yourself, is our nation really great? Are we great anymore? Or are we just mediocre? Or are we just a country that has no direction? Are we a country that has been lost? I will tell you, I believe we're a country that has lost its direction and has been lost. We've lost our way. We really have. We've lost our way. And we better get it back. We better start understanding God, the Judeo-Christian ideology that built this nation. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't reinvent the wheel. Just push it better. We better get back to ridding our government of corruption. And that's going to be a hard one because everybody is so corrupt. This we found out under the Trump presidency. We better get back to being a country that has manners and courtesy. We better get back to being a country that has respect for its language. Stop using profane words. We better get back to a country that understands that if America was never here, what would the world be like? And the sacrifice that our military men and women have made for you and me to even have this discussion. You know, we invent everything in this world. Did you know that? Tell me 10 things that have been invented somewhere else on this planet Earth other than America over the last 10 years. Please, the Chinese copy everything, so do the Koreans and the Japanese. And they may be, after they copy it, they may improve it. Okay, but they copy it. Please, somebody tell me 10 things that have been invented outside this country. We are the most creative, intelligent, intellectual country on the planet Earth and in mankind's history. We better get back to accepting that and appreciating that. We better get back to having the strongest military in the world, and we better get back to protecting our nation from those that want to take it away from us and change our culture. Leith Eaton is on. Hey, Leith, how you doing? We better get back to understanding what American culture is. America is a different place than any place else on the planet Earth. We are the shining city on the hill. At least we were, but we've lost our way, and that light is dimming fast. Because it's the people that make the country. It's the ideology that makes the people. It's the thought that gives you direction. We've gone awry. The baby boom generation, my generation, failed you. We failed you, Gen Xers. We failed you, millennials. The baby boom generation failed you miserably because we stopped teaching what it takes to be an American. We did not take the Depression generation ideas and what made this country great. We stopped, and we became selfish and greedy and self-centered. And if I'm okay, you're okay. No, it's not like that. The baby boom generation is going to go down historically as a generation that destroyed America. And it's up to us now to get it back. People complain about civil rights. You know something? Racism. There's always been racism in the history of mankind. Since however we were created, we have racism and hatred for somebody else just because. You guys hate Donald Trump. Am I calling you a racist? I might as well. He's a white man. So you're racist against white men. Oh, it doesn't sound good to turn the tide, does it? Racism is everywhere. It will never be washed out of the DNA and genomes of human species. It never will. But we in America have made great strides, more than any other nation, from where we were at to where we have gotten to. But yet, in the last 8 years, our last president destroyed most of that and created a hatred. And we baby boomers allowed it to happen. Because if we had the big car, and we had the big TV, and we had the nice diamond ring, and we had the trophy wife or the trophy husband, and we had the fancy shoes, we were okay. So everybody else should be okay. No, it doesn't work that way. We've lost our way. We've lost our way. And we better get it back. We better clean up our neighborhoods. We better clean up our house. You better make your bed before you leave the house in the morning. You think it's stupid, right? It isn't. We better clean our front yard and clean our street and clean our neighborhood and clean our cities and clean our counties and clean our states and clean our country. We've gotten away. We've boxed each other up under prison houses with high fences and barking Rottweilers and pit bulls and vicious carnivorous dogs and spiky steel fences and walls everywhere. And America is against walls. Have you driven down the street lately? At least here in Southern California, every freaking house has a wall of some sort. Why is that? Because they're afraid. They want to keep their sovereignty. Why can't we keep ours? These good-for-nothing movie stars, they complain and point the finger. But they have 40-foot walls, and they pay $1 million a year for their special security teams. Unbelievable, huh? The hypocrisy. We better clean our country. We better start preaching about right and wrong at the moral level. Respecting our flag, taking our hat off, putting our hand over our heart, standing straight, respecting our national anthem, respecting all people. I like you until you do me wrong. I don't care what color you are. I don't care who you are. You do me wrong, you become my enemy. Because I'm going to do you right first. We better have some ideology like that again. Why did we lose our streets to the gangs? Why did we lose our streets to the criminals? Because we men, that's right, men, you are just a bunch of chicken heads. You didn't get out there and put your life on the line for your family in your street. Get all the men together and chase them out. No. The baby boom generation, terrible generation in this country, socially. We've lost our way. And we need to gain our way back. And you do that by understanding what we've lost. There was an article that came out that the Hollywood Walk of Fame in Hollywood is the world's worst tourist attraction. Yeah, it is. There's so much pee and poop and vomit, throw up on the ground, and disgusting, stinky, low-life bums. It is just a sewer pit, a cesspool. Bums, thugs, hobos, transients, vagrants, homeless, drug addicts. Pee, poo, throw up, vomit, smell everywhere. And in fact, it's the highest crime zone in LAPD district. Expensive, it's filthy, and it's just crummy. I remember when it was nice, when I was 13 years old, 1973. Hey, a couple of good things here, though. It looks like they may have found the cure for AIDS. A second guy in England, a second HIV patient, is in long-term remission a decade after he took this drug. They've been following this guy for 10 years. There's another one. He was the second one. I put that information up on my Facebook timeline page. Very, very cool. Very cool. Absolutely cool. Now, one more thing, and then I'm going to get going. And this is up on my Facebook timeline page. And I've talked about this before, but it's been a while, so I'm going to talk about it again. Hey, Mark's on. Hey, Mark, what's happening, brother? Have you ever pondered for 1 second? Just pondered for a second. And this is going to directly relate to socialism, communism, and the Muslim and Islamic fanatical, crazy, idiot morons.
Okay? Why has Europe disappeared? Well, Europeans, the birth rate of your typical European was a wife and a husband had 2 children. And that was the birth rate for all of Europe. And in the last 50 years to 70 years, that birth rate has dropped from 3, 4, and 5 kids. And in fact, that is even dropping lower. It's 1.67 babies per European family. The Islamic and Muslim introduction into Europe, unchecked at their borders, like it was, and we saw it on TV, the average Islamic Muslim family that moved into Europe, the average man has 4 wives, according to his religion. And they make about 2 babies or so per wife, maybe 3. They end up having 12 children at the same time that the average European is making 2 babies. So, do the mathematics. Outbred, outnumbered, outvoted, and completely out. Now, here's my question. Do you want that to happen in America? Do you want that to happen in America? Interesting answer, huh? Have you ever given thought as to the reason why illegal immigration was allowed for almost 40 years in this country? Maybe longer than that, 50, that I can remember going back to 8 years old. Really started recognizing it when I was 25, 1985. Well, it's because the same effect that happened in Europe was starting to happen in America. The typical American family went down from 4 kids to 2.1 children per family. Larry McCabe's watching. Hey, Larry, what's happening, brother? So when you look at the average American family making 2.1 babies per family over the baby boom generation, my generation, and that shrinking a little bit in Gen Xers to 1.9, and that shrinking a little bit more to the millennials at 1.8, statisticians and people that study this stuff will tell you that when a country is only making 1.67 babies per family to 2.0 babies per family, they are being outbred, outnumbered, and outvoted by the incoming immigrants that are making 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10 babies per family, like in Europe. It's just math. Forget about anything else. So, if Americans 50 years ago stopped making as many babies as they did before World War II, then we have a problem of losing our culture. And who do we want to lose our culture to? You can't make people make more babies. Okay? So we open the floodgates to Mexico. We let them come in. Remember, they're Christian, Catholic Christians, but they're Christian. They have a Christian ideology. like America. We let them come in. The average Mexican family in Mexico makes approximately 5 to 6 babies per family. Right now, today. So we let them come in. Their income increases just by coming here. Their lifestyle and their quality of life increases even if they're illegal, especially in California, we give them everything, to come here. And they continue making babies. And then they breed, yes, breed, I'm going to use the word, with the typical Americans. And our population breeding goes up to 2.25 babies per family. Thus, our culture stays. It changes a little bit because of the influx of Mexicans and now Central Americans. It changes a little bit, but we all are based on the Christian ideology. And they all want to be Americans. So they learn English and they become Americans. But America changes because it's not the America from Western Europe anymore. It's the America from our continent. But we still stay America. Whereas in Europe, forget it. Europe is gone. When you got Muslim families that have interjected themselves into that society and those governments allowed it to happen, they just made the mortal mistake of being outbred, outnumbered, and outvoted because those people make so many babies, roughly an average of 8 babies per family, that they're just outbreeding your typical Europeans, and mathematics tells you they're not going to ever change. They can't ever catch up. It's over with. Europe is gone. You understand me? Now, I'm going to say something here that's going to really ruffle a lot of feathers. We have an anti-Semite in Congress from Wisconsin, whatever her name is. I call her Turban Head. And I don't care. I do not care whether or not you think my names are good or bad. I don't really care. She wears a turban. And she's got a head. Okay? It could be a turban or it could be a parka. I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, it looks like a turban. So I'm going to call her Turban Head. She's an anti-Semite. She has said so many things. And she's in Congress. She does not like America. She's anti-American. The stuff she's saying publicly, can you imagine what she says privately? And there's another couple of them in Congress. And those people got voted in by their constituents where they live. So can you imagine? Now, do you want that? Do you want America to be an Islamic, Muslim nation, just like Europe is becoming? Have you noticed what's going on in Europe right now? Burning buildings, bombs exploding, murders, rapes of women, Sharia law. Well, there's a part of America up in Wisconsin and especially up in Wisconsin that and Michigan too, that they will tell you that there are whole towns where Sharia law is being enacted. And the police are fighting them all the time. Just do your homework. Oh, you say, well, that's not going to happen in America. Uh-huh. Sure. So what I'm telling you, folks, we got to take our nation back. I'm not saying those people can't be Americans. I'm not saying they can't come here, but they need to be vetted. We need to know that they are not going to put their Sharia Quran law above the Constitution. And we can't let what happened in Europe happen here. Because if you do, your children's children will not like it. So think about that. Do your homework. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Hey, we're straight on the point. It's the Jesse T Show. I'm out of here. I got to go train. It's time to get up and get out there and get the body moving. Hoo yeah! You bet. Absolutely. You have a good one. Thanks a lot. Hey, on Friday, we're going to be checking in, and we've got some good things coming up next week. So I'll be talking to you about it a little bit later on this week. And we look forward to seeing you again here on the Jesse T Show. The Brown Beauty is off duty. See ya!